They call him Jesus. He came to love, heal and forgive. He lived and died to buy my pardon. An empty grave is there to prove my Savior lives. Because He lives, I can face tomorrow. Because He lives, all fear is gone. Because I know who holds the future, and life is worth the living just because He lives.
Let's do a prayer first. My Heavenly Father, we humbly come to you and ask you to open our eyes, open our ears, take these scales off, that we can live a happy life, a prosperous life with your love. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about love, peace, happiness, getting along. Lord, in my reading your word and teaching your word, Lord, you guide each person that watches this video in the direction you want them to go. Not on my point of view, but on your point of view. Lord, all we want is the truth. And you're the only one that can give us the truth. Lord, I pray that you will help each and every one of them that are having financial problems. And Lord, if any of your people need you to touch them, please, Lord, help them get in your presence and get healed by the power of your love that surrounds you. Lord, we only want to do what you want us to do. We are pawns in your hand. We are fools for you. And I ask this all in Jesus' precious name. Amen. Alright, we're going to get busy on our Bible. I'm not quite for sure where we are, but I'm going to start right here. I'm going to Genesis, and I'm going to do 31. Alrighty. 31. And he heard the words of Laban's son, saying, Jacob had taken away all that was our father's, and of that which our father's has he gotten all his glory. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not towards him as before. And the Lord said unto Jacob, Return into the land of thy fathers, and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field and to his flock, and said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that it is not towards me as before. But the God of my father has been with me, and ye know that with all my power I have served your father. And your father hath deceived me, and changed my wages 10 times. But God suffered him not to hurt me. If he saith thus, the speckled shall be thy wages, then all the cattle bore speckled. And if he said thus, the ring struck shall be thy hire, then bear all the cattle ring struck. Thus God hath taken away the cattle of your father, and gave them to me. And it came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived, that I lifted up my eyes, and saw in a dream, and behold, the ram which leaped upon the cattle were ring-struck, speckled, and garnished. And the angel of God spoke unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Lift up now thine eyes, and see all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring-struck, speckled, and garnished. For I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. I am the God of Bethel. Here thou anointest the pillars, and where thou vowest a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee out from this land, and return into the land of thy kindred. And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, Is there yet any portion of inheritance for us in our father's house? We are not counted of him strangers, for he hath sold us, and hath quite devoured also our money. So, in other words, what they're saying is Dad didn't have any care for us. Look at him, he sold us. And there's nothing left. He done took everything and done whatever he was going to do with it. So there's nothing here left for us. Alrighty, we're on 16. For all the riches which God had taken from our father, that is ours and our children, is now then whatsoever God has said unto thee. Then Jacob arose up and set his sons and his wives upon the camels. And he carried away all his cattle and all his goods which he had gotten, the cattle of the getting which he had gotten in Panorama, for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the image that that were her father's, and Jacob stole away unaware to Laban in Syrian, in that he told him not that he fled. So he fled with all that he had, and he arose up and passed over the river, and set his face towards the Mount Gilead. And it was told Laban the third day that Jacob was fled. And he took his brethren with him, and pursued after him 7 days' journey, and they overtook him in Mount Gilead. And God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night, and said unto him, Take heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. And Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mount, and Laban with his brethren pitched it in the Mount of Gilead. And Laban said unto Jacob, What hast thou done, that thou hast stolen away unaware to me, and carried away my daughters in captivity, taken with thee the sword? Wherefore didst thou flee away secretly, and steal away from me, and didst not tell me, that I might have sent thee away with mirth, and with songs, and with tabret, and with harp? So in other words, he's saying, why didn't you tell me? You just up and left. You stole my daughters and my children, and you didn't say anything. I could have had a goodbye party for you. Okay, 28. And hast not suffered me to kiss my sons and daughters. Thou hast now done foolishly in so doing. This is in the power of my hand to do you hurt. But the God of your father spoke unto me yesternight, saying, Take thou heed that thou speak not to Jacob, either good or bad. And now, though thou wouldest need to be gone, because thou sore longest after thy father's house. Yet wherefore hast thou stolen my God? So in other words, he's saying you stole my God, all my junk. Because I was afraid, for I said, Peradventure, thou wouldest take by force thy daughters from me. With whomsoever thou findest thy gods, let him not live. Before our brethren discerns thou what is thine with me, and take it to thee. For Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. In other words, he said, whoever stole your God, and I don't want no part of him, is pretty well much what he's saying. Let him not live. In other words, let him die. You know? And we're on 33. And Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and into the two maidservants' tent. But he found them not. Then went he out to Leah's tent and entered into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the image and put them in the camel's furniture. In other words, the camel's furniture is like a saddle, and it had two pockets on the side of it, okay? You could sit on it on the camel, or you could sit on it out in your tent like she was doing. And sat upon them. And Laban searched all the tent, but found them not. And she said to her father, Let it not displease my lord, that I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of women is upon me. And he searched, but found not the image. Okay, so, for the custom of the women is upon me. Plain and simple, no sugar coating it or anything. Rachel was on her period, and she was not allowed to get up. Okay, we are on 36. And Jacob was wroth and child with Laban. I can't even get it out. Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, What is my trespass? What is my sin, that thou hast so haughtily pursued after me, whereas thou hast searched all my stuff, that hast thou found of all thy household stuff? Set it before my brethren and thy brethren, that they may judge between us. In other words, he's saying, whatever you found in these tents, put them right here for everybody to see, so that they can judge if I stole off of you or not. Okay? So apparently, Laban didn't find anything. Okay. We're on 38. There's 20 years. So he labored there 20 years with Laban. Have I been with thee? Thy ewes and thy she-goats have not cast their young, and the rams of thy flock have I not eaten. In other words, I haven't eaten nothing that was yours, it's all been mine. That which was torn of the beast, I brought not unto thee. I bore the lot of it. In other words, if an animal was to got a hold of one of the lambs or any of the flock, he didn't even take it to him. He's the one that bore the out of it. Okay? I bore the loss of it. Of my hand didst thou require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. Thus I was in the days brought custom to me. Consumed me, there we go, I'm sorry. And the frost by night. and my sheep departed from my eyes. Thus I have been 20 years in thy house. I served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for thy cattle, and thou hast changed my wages 10 times. Except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had been with me, surely thou hast sent me away now empty. God has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands, and rebuked thee yesternight. In other words, he's saying your dream that you had, God's seen everything that you've done and how you treated me. And he's the one that told you, don't you do Laban wrong. Jacob wrong. Don't you hurt him. Okay? We're on 43. And Laban answered and said unto Jacob, these daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and these cattle are my cattle, and all that thou seest is mine. And what can I do this day unto thee my daughters, or unto the children which they have borne? Now therefore, come thou, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let it be for a witness between me and thee. And Jacob took a stone, and set it upon for a pillar. And Jacob said unto this brethren, gather stones. And they took stones, and made a heap. And they did eat thereupon the heap. In other words, they piled up a big old pile of rocks, and when they ate, they sat on the rocks. And that was how they made their covenant between each other. And Laban called into Jashah Dortha, but Jacob called it Galeed. And Laban said, this heap is a witness between me and thee this day. Therefore was the name of it called Galeed. It's Galeed. And Milphah, for he said, the Lord which between me and thee, when we are absent one from another, if thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take other wives besides my daughter, no man is with us. See, God is witness between me and thee. And Laban said unto Jacob, behold, this heap, and behold this pillar, which I have cast between me and thee. This heap be witness, and this pillar be witness, that I will not pass over this heap to thee, and that thou shalt not pass over this heap and this pillar unto me for harm. In other words, both of them agree. We will not, neither one, I will not come to your place. You do not come to my place. I'm not going to go and hurt you. You don't come and hurt me. And they both agreed to it. Alrighty, 53. The God of Abraham, the God of Nahor, and the God of their fathers judged between us. And Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. And Jacob offered sacrifice upon the mount, and called his brethren to eat bread. And they did eat bread, and tarried all night in the mount. And early in the morning Laban rose up, and kissed his sons and his daughters, and blessed them. And Laban departed, and returned into his own place. Alright, I'm going to get me something to drink, and we'll come back and do 32. Alright, let's continue with 32. And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. And when Jacob saw them, he said, this is God's host. And he called the name of that place Mahariim. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother, and to the land of Shur, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, thus shall you speak unto my lord Esau. Thy servant Jacob saith thus, I have sojourned with Laban, and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and asses and flocks and maids, manservants and women servants. And I have sent to tell my Lord that I may find grace in thy sight. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, We came to thy brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed. In other words, he sent his people to go and talk to Esau.
And find out if he was still mad.
Yeah. You want to do this? Let me have my own brain, Mom. Please, don't stop me. When you stop me, I forget what I'm saying.
I'm sorry. I'm just what I'm thinking.
Okay? Alright, let's see. Let me look over this. Alright, when he heard that about Esau, and they seen all the 400 men coming, he got scared. Okay? Jacob got scared. We're on number 7. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks, and the herd, and the camels, into 2 bands. In other words, he split everybody out. He says, take half the cattle, go over here, and take off and meet us this direction, and we're going to go this direction to meet them, and all. So, we need to split up and make sure that if they're coming after us to kill us, then at least somebody's going to live through it. All right, number 8. And said, if Esau come to one company and smite it, then another company which is left shall escape. See? And Jacob said, O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, and the Lord which saith unto me, return unto thy country and to thy kindred, and I will deal well with thee. I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth which thou hast showed unto thy servant. In other words, he's saying, I'm not worthy of your mercy and all the truth that I have learned through my life. All right? For with this my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become 2 bands. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hands of my brother, and from the hand of Esau. Now remember, when Isaac was dying, and Esau had the birthright, but Jacob took the birthright. So remember that. For I fear him, lest he will come and smite me, and the mother with the children. He'll come and kill us all. Because remember, Esau wanted to kill him. As soon as his dad died, he wanted to kill him. All right, we're on 12. And thou sayest, I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for the multitude. And he lodged there that same night, and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother, 200 she-goats, and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes, and 20 rams. So the girls he gave more of than he did the boys. The boys, I don't think you can eat them as good as you can the girls. I think they have better meat on the girls than they do the boys, and that's the reason why that he did it that way.
And plus they can give more birth.
Yes, and give more milk. Yep. 15. 30 mulched camels with colts, 40 kine, and 10 bulls, 20 she-asses, and 10 foals. So now these are all the animals that he's getting together for Esau. And he delivered them into the hands of his servant. Every drove by themselves, and said unto his servant, pass over before me, and put a space betwixt drove and drove. And he commanded the foremost, saying, When Esau my brother meeteth thee, and asketh thee, saying, Whose art thou, and whither thou goest thou? And whose are these before thee? Thou shalt say, Thy be thy servant Jacob. It is a present sent unto my lord Esau. In other words, he said, if he comes to you, you tell them that all this right here belongs to him. In other words, it's a way of saying, look, we don't want you to kill us, okay? And behold, also, he is behind us. So, he's saying, Jacob's behind us. We're just bringing you the stuff first, okay? It's like a peace offering, okay? 19. And so commanded he the second and the third, and all that followed the droves, saying, On this manner shall ye speak unto Esau when you find him. And say ye moreover, Behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us. For he saith, I will appease him with a present that goeth before me, and afterwards I will see his face, peradventure he will accept of me. So went the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company. 22. And he rose up that night, and took his 2 wives, and his 2 women servants, and his 7 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them, and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. In other words, he took his children and everything, and put them somewhere else where Jacob was all by himself. That if Esau happened to come in, Esau would not be there. He would be by himself, and nobody would have to see anything. Okay, and now we are on 23. And he took them and sent them over the brook, and had that. Okay, and sent over that he had. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of day. So now he is wrestling with an angel, okay? And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man. I'm keep on going over the same old thing. We're on 25. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, and he wrestled with him. So this, we're going to call it an angel, a messenger of the Lord. Angel means messenger, okay? So that's like any one of you could be an angel sending a message to somebody. So he touched the joint of his hip and made his hip out of place. Boy, I tell you what, I bet you anything. He had had his hand and feet going numb like I am. You know, hey boy, hush. All right, 26. So, well, his joint, his thigh was out of joint, you know. 26. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. Now, this is where you get, if you get into the movies and stuff, and the vampires, this is where they get this from. Let me go. It's starting, the sun's starting to come up. I got to get out of here. This is where they get this at. Okay? And he said unto them, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. Okay? Alrighty. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. In other words, you have talked to God. God sees favor with you, and you went and with Laban, and you had trouble with Laban, and you passed it, and now here's your brother. Your brother's coming after you, and you have prevailed against your brother. You are, you have power with God. You're the prince, okay? 29. And Jacob asked him and said, Tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, Wherefore is it that thou doest ask after my name? Well, what do you want to know my name for? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, like the pineal gland. For I have seen God's face to face, and my life is preserved. He said, this was God that I wrestled with. And my life is preserved because I wrestled with him. All right. 31. And as he passed over Peniel, the sun arose upon him, and he halt upon his thigh. In other words, he couldn't walk straight no more. He had a limp with him. And I would say he probably had that limp the rest of his life. I would call that a blessing too, to have a limp after a wrestle with an angel or God himself. If that's all I got out of it, and my name changed, I would call that a blessing. All right, 32. Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the shoulder which shrank. In other words, when you cook a lamb and the shoulder would shrink, they would not eat that. Whichever one it was that shrunk, they would not eat it. Which is upon the hollow of the thigh unto this day. Because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh, and the shoon what shrank. All right, here we go on 33. And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came with him with 400 men. And he divided the children unto Leah and to Rachel and unto the two handmaids. And he put the handmaids and the children foremost. In other words, the handmaid had most of the children, and Leah and her children after. But Leah had her children, and Rachel had her children. And Rachel and Joseph hindermost. Okay, then I was wrong. The handmaid had all the other children, and Leah had her children, and Rachel's children, and Rachel and Joseph stayed together. Okay? And he passed over before them, and bowed himself to the ground 7 times, until he came near to his brother. And Esau ran and met him, and embraced him, and fell upon his neck, and kissed him, and they wept. Alright? They bowed down, saying, I'm not going to hurt you. I missed you. I know you're the one that, you have everything now. Everything is fine with me. I have no beef with you. Don't have no beef with me. Alright? And then when they finally got close together, it was like, man, I really missed you. I had missed you so much. And they cried on each other's shoulders. Alrighty. 5. And he lifted up his eyes, and saw the woman and the children, and said, Who are these with thee? And he said, The children, which God has graciously given thy servant. In other words, he's saying, I am the servant. You are who you are. You're the master. Alright, so he gave him his birthright for the objects, the worldly goods. He gave them back to Esau. Okay? Then the handmaids came near, they and their children, and bowed themselves. So in other words, they were all off seeing everything that was happening, and nobody got killed. Okay, it was time to come back together and meet him. Number 7. And Leah also with her children came near, and bowed themselves. And after Joseph near and Rachel, they bowed themselves. Everybody was like, okay, we know who you are, and all that good stuff. And he said, what meanest thou by all these droves which I met? And he said, these are to find grace in the sight of my Lord. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep that thou hast unto thyself. I don't need none of this. I have plenty. I'm blessed. I've got plenty of stuff. I don't need nothing. And Jacob said, nay, I pray thee, if now I have found favor, no, if I found grace in thy sight, then give my present to at my hand, for therefore I have seen thy face, as though I have seen the face of God, and thou wast pleased with me. Alright, 11. Take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought to thee, because God hath dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. Can you get that open, or you need some help? Okay. I hope that they can hear what I'm saying. I'm going to read 11 again. Take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought with thee, because God hath dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. In other words, he said, no, take it, So he finally did. And he said, let us take our journey, and let us go, and I will go before thee. And he said unto him, my Lord knoweth that the children are tender, and the flock and herds with the young are with me. And if man should overdrive them one day, all flock will die. In other words, if they come in, if I don't stick with them and all, then somebody comes and can kill them all. I don't want to leave them alone. Alright, 14. Let my Lord, I pray thee, pass over before thy servant, and I will lead on softly, according as the cattle that goeth before me, and the children be able to endure until I come unto my Lord unto Shur. And Esau said, let me now leave with these some of the flock, that they are with me. And he said, what needeth it? Let me find grace in the sight of my Lord. So Esau returned that day on his way to Shur. In other words, he's saying, let me just go on my way, take what I gave you, and I will go on my way. So that's what he did. So Esau returned that day on his way to Shur. 17. And Jacob journeyed to Succoth, and built him a house, and made booths for his cattle. Therefore the name of the place is called Succoth. And Jacob came to Shelem, a city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Panorama, and pitched his tent before the city. And he brought a particle of the field which he had spread his tent at the hand of the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. And he erected there an altar, and called it Israel. So El means God. Okay, so that's what that means. Alrighty, we're on 34, and when we come back, I'll try to go back to Matthew, and I'll read out of Matthew. But I am a little bit late on doing this because I was getting them boxes ready to go. They are all ready to go, and I have got this done, so I'm going to upload it on the internet. I hope you enjoy. Hugs and kisses. this is how to donate to my PayPal. You come down here to Poor Man's Sewing, and you mash on Poor Man's Sewing. Then you go over here to About. You mash on About. And right here is to donate to Poor Man's Sewing. Thank you. I appreciate everything that is donated. It will go to the sewing shed that we are working on. Or anything that you want me to put it on there, just leave a note on there and I will see what it says. And I really do appreciate you donating and watching my channel. A lot of hugs and kisses to you.